Hey, friends. Well, you know, some days what shows up is a surrender to the inherent fluctuations of the universe, or at least of human psychological life. I think there's a relationship between those two things, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. And what I mean by that is, when we have a spiritual practice, meditation, whatever our contemplation, yoga, qigong, whatever your thing is, whatever the way is that we access a dimension beyond ego, by and large, if that practice is effective, it takes us to a dimension where there is no fluctuation. There's no tension and release. There's no friction. And that's because it's a dimension beyond time and space where nothing exists, and therefore nothing can be rubbing up against anything else, causing friction or tension or relaxation, for that matter. And I think one of the perennial experiences of being a human being, of being a human being with a spiritual practice, with an intentional spiritual, whether we feel like it's a mission or a personal experiment. One of the central experiences is that we keep moving from this dimension where there's no time and space and no problems and no friction and no nothing, back into our human experience, our human conditioned experience, where all those things happen constantly. And so this has been showing up for me. I've noticed I've noticed it in my own work. I've noticed it most recently, I think, because of where my focus has been. I've noticed it in my work with Anna Lise in varying domains of life, including her musical practice on violin, some of her other activities, the things that I'm around for, the things that I see her and that I experience with her, because I either take her to them or I'm part of them. And I swear, if there isn't like almost a perfect sine wave of tension and release, and tension and release, and tension and release, and tension and release. It doesn't matter how much I meditate. We don't get to not have the tension portion of the sine wave. That's not what having a spiritual practice is all about. It's not going to eliminate the tension in our life. What it might hopefully do is give us some measure of objectivity, some measure of distance from the experience of tension, which might help us traverse that territory smoothly and without getting fixed or hung up or blocked about it so that it can just do its job of being tension and then releasing and then coming to tension and coming into release. I mean, if you look at anything in the universe, anything in the manifest universe that's alive, tension and release, part of it. Breathing, right? All forms of energy exist in these states of tension, of ongoing tension and release. And I think what's showing up for me is just a surrender to that actually, you know, because anytime we surrender to it, I mean, anytime we surrender to something like that, to the big picture of that, there's a measure of relief that we get because we're suddenly not wishing it were different. Wishing that that's not how the universe works. Wishing we could sort of hang out in the release portion of the sine wave all the time. Or maybe, depending on our personality type, maybe we always want to hang out in the tension portion all the time. That's not effective. Like ultimately that's not going to work. And there's no bonus points for succeeding in that mission. What we really want to do is get our system to a place where that flow, that ongoing up and down tension and release is actually an organic, healthy process like breathing. No one would ever say, I just wish that I held my breath more. Or I wish that I could just only breathe out and just never have to breathe in, because breathing in just bugs me. I like breathing out. I prefer breathing out. Comes to breathing in, breathing out, I am on the breathing out side of the coin for sure. Sign me up for that. What? Doesn't even make any sense. It's the movement of the system that does the job we need it to do. But there are plenty of ways in which we do something equivalent to that simply because we're not aware of how the system works. We're not aware of the breath, the in-breath and out-breath of all the processes that are part of our life. I'm still working on the in-breath and out-breath of helping my daughter practice violin. There are portions of the in-breath and or out-breath, I'm not sure what part of the cycle we're talking about, but that drive me nuts. And I have to really catch myself and remember, you know, the nice thing is you hit a few of these kind of sticking points. You log some miles doing this, and you start to go, oh yeah, that happened back then, it happened before, it happened, oh, okay, this is another one of those. So it stops being a big deal. But we have perspective on the way the system works. You know, like if you were like, I don't know how this would work, but if you'd only ever breathed in, if you were so new to the experience of breathing that the only thing you'd experience was an in-breath, maybe the idea of an out-breath would be really scary. Well, I'm supposed to give up, but I need air to live. Why would I give up air? That's what I need to live. Oh my God, that feels so good. Whoa. Wow. You know, actually, sign me up for both. I prefer both breathing in and breathing out, actually, upon some reflection. I now have the experience to say I kind of like the whole cycle. That might be how we feel about everything in our life that has these tension points and these, or a low. You know, a low doesn't necessarily be relaxation. It could be a kind of like a funk or a lethargy that we get into. And again, it might just be that in order for us to relax, our system has to do that to us because we're so programmed to never really relax. So it has to really depress us before we will actually do what we need to do to recover. But again, if we had that, if we actually could surrender to the sine wave, to the process, we'd go and get what we need, and then we'd start to move up again. Get what we need, move down again. Get what we need. There's a health and an ease to the process, and not an ease in the sense that the moments of tension won't be incredibly intense, but an ease in the sense of we don't get stuck anywhere along the way because we think something's wrong. Thanks for watching, folks. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. See you soon.